Good afternoon, Your Highnesses, Excellencies, dignitaries, members of the ABLF network, and all of our wonderful guests here with us today. My name is Resham Katecha. I'm a strategy and policy specialist based in the UK, and it is, as ever, an absolute privilege to be here with you at the ABLF for the fourth session of 2021. I am about to interview and moderate a panel for an incredibly impressive man, Mr. Yu Tao. He has over 20 years of experience in the management of corporate affairs and construction projects, and is the president and CEO of the China State Construction Engineering Corporation in the Middle East. He's also the chairman of ASSAS, a special purpose vehicle between the China State Construction Engineering Corporation and SKIA Holdings. Under his leadership, they've developed a reputation as one of the leading and most respected construction companies in the region. And he has lots to share with us all about his experiences. So, Mr. Yu, I won't waste time extolling your virtues any further because I want to get to the point. You are, of course, hugely experienced, and construction and the real estate sectors were two of the major sectors that were impacted by COVID-19. How do you see the magnitude of that impact on the construction sector, and how could that change the construction industry post the pandemic?
According to the report, the construction industry employs about 7% of the world's working age population. And it is one of the world economy's largest sectors. And with 10 trillion spending each year, with such huge volume in such single sector, it's well expected to see greater impact on the construction sector due to the global recession. COVID-19 has forced sites in many countries to shut down, and those who remain open have faced disturbance. Supply chain were completely disturbed, and operation has to be rearranged. And typically, the reduced economic activity resulting in less demand and create more ambiguities, then further reduced investments. Yet on the upside, construction holds more potential to stimulate recovery, and thanks to its potential to create jobs. The COVID-19 induced recession has severely impacted not just the economy, but our day-to-day life. And the reliance on the technology had become mandatory to everyone, from kindergarten to senior citizens. Suddenly, it's no longer a choice to go with current technology. Indeed, it becomes a must and a necessity. At the same time, while we are talking about the new loans, social distancing, remote working, and the contactless transactions, there are new terminologies which are getting matured day after day in the construction industry. The smart building and smart cities, those terminologies are eventually changing the products of the construction industry from being just solid building into smart buildings, interactive with the users, and able to provide customer experience with such our new lifestyle where everything around us becomes smart. Eventually, both affects the current crisis situation and demand of tomorrow's smart building are driving and pushing in same direction, technology-driven construction reformation. If there is a positive sense with the ongoing pandemic, it is the recovery measures can support the sector's faster transformation towards sustainability and the digitalization and post-pandemic era.
So you've talked about smart and technology, and with technology proving to be the key factor in economic recovery, you've just mentioned three major approaches. But I want to talk for a second about the current crisis. And the current crisis has revealed certain gaps between the perception and the reality of tech-led innovations in the construction sector. So from your real and very extensive experience, what would you say are the most practical approaches to fill that gap? And how can technology be a real driver of the construction business in the future?
Well, it is well known that the construction industry is a very conservative industry, especially when it comes to innovation and new technologies. The social cost of trial and error, it is dramatically high, and then always go against the speed of the application, which create the set gap between the perception and the reality. Like many other industries, the speed of the technology adoption is the prima catalyst. In a matter of fact, in light with the current crisis, quick adoption is no longer a choice. From what have been discussed, eventually, both of the facts, the current crisis situation and the demand of tomorrow's smart building are driving and pushing in the same direction. Technology-driven construction reformation, and that is a greater motivation and a mass grab opportunities. So, for the construction industry, among so many available technology, there are three main technologies which we believe have positive impact towards quicker recovery, which is automation, digitalization, and offsite fabrication. First, automation, or the absolute removal of human-induced errors. Second, digitization, the moving of manual process to eventual paperless process. Third, offsite fabrication, or mass production style project delivery, in order to better opt to the new norms. Since COVID-19 pandemic will certainly not be the last crisis that will hinder the face-to-face transaction.
And so that's really, really valuable. And I'm really keen to pick up on those elements that you've talked about, those three major approaches, because as you say, technology is proving to be one of the key factors in economic recovery. And you've spoken to us about the three approaches, the automation, the digitalization, and the off-site fabrication. So let's start with the first one, the automation. Which area in the construction industry requires automation to gain the best value?
Well, it is too obvious that manual process will inevitably lead to error, and well-programmed automated process is the only way to secure 1% success rate and to achieve the theoretical zero error. More automation means more data, which means more KPIs to measure how well you process and are working, find bottlenecks and shortcomings, and forecast project completion more easily. In construction industry, we can see the automation in the industry is a divide in two main aspects. First, direct construction activities. Technologies such as 3D printing with concrete or metal as ink to produce building elements, and on-site construction robotics. However, the adoption and implementation still in concept proofing stage. Second, the exhausting long construction activity, which have been seen by the expert and workers likely to have the greater impact once it has been automated. One recent survey among construction experts finds that there are three known productivities here, which are repetitive by nature and should be target of automation. The first is the data collection, which eliminating human error and manual data entry by automatically collect, upload, and synchro into system of record. The second is the review and approval process, which become more efficient through automation and review, the approval, sign off, and the confirmation. The third, progress updates, which eventually become possible to be conducted on real time through different automatic process monitor techniques. The report are customized, and according to the required objectives, data can be accessed from everywhere on Earth.
So truly globalization coming into the fore then through that automation. So thank you. So let's move on to the second major approach that you'd briefly discussed, the digitization. So how do you see technology improving access, operations, and inclusivity to digital services through the wider application of that digitization in your field, the field of construction?
Construction industry historically is biased to traditional manual process and had been slow in its transition to paperless process, even though the technology tool is in existence. As of the current situation of today, the crisis has induced preventive disruptive measures such as work from home, which become possible only through pre-existing BIM process and collaboration tools like CDE, which is Common Data Environment, wherein the stakeholders and designer and the contractor can collaborate and work together in real time, even remotely. The limited site operation was administered through the help of the technology, such as IoT, which is Internet of Things, for supply chain, NFC, near-field communications, and 5G connectivities for labor social distancing trackers. The digitalization in construction industry and activities will very soon witness massive adoption of the key 5 trends, which are higher definition survey and 3D mapping using drones and laser scanners, 7D building information modeling, which is a BIM, cloud-based digital collaboration, the Internet of Things, which is the IoT, with all its application of smart analysis and machine learning. And finally, the future-proof design and construction. The above will be possible and driven by the concept of common data environment, big data, cloud computing, blockchain, robotics, NFC, and the 5G connectivities. As those are the enabler of the future digital construction.
And then thank you for that very detailed explanation of the first two. I'm really looking forward to hearing about the third approach, the prefabrication. And you mentioned about the application of prefabrication in the construction industry. So how do you see this concept being applied in the Middle East region? What are the obstructions towards that wider application? And is there any specific role that you believe should be played by governments and master developers to widen the application of prefabrication in the sector?
Well, among the mentioned 3 main technological-based tools to assess the industry, the most beneficiary today in dealing with the ongoing pandemic demand for controlled environment and the social distancing is the offsite fabrication, or the application of the mass production manufacturing style concept in the construction industry. We may be all knowing some of the benefit of offsite fabrication, which includes maintaining high quality, safer work environment, and dramatically reduction of waste, which means unprecedented level of sustainability. However, today, I would like to highlight 3 main aspects which in our opinion have ultimate value. First, the total elimination of the weather factor in the fabrication, unlike in an on-site construction wherein the activity are reliant on the force of nature, especially here in the region of the Middle East, where the weather is wild in many days, either due to the excessive temperature, humidity, or sandstorm. Shifting the off-site activities to controlled environment take the weather condition out of the equation, hence assure the target productivity rates. Second, it can allow to fast-track the construction schedule in a way that allow you to work in any floor at any time. You do not have to strictly follow the normal bottom-up construction sequence. And lastly, with current pandemic situation, off-site fabrication enables better social distancing measures to be implemented as there will be fewer overlapping activities. Products and concepts such as precast concrete, modular building components, port system, prefabricated partition, pre-assembled MEP system, and prefabricated are already existing and part of the industry. We all witnessed the miracle of the hospital built in China in the beginning of the outbreak in just 10 days. Without the concept of the prefabrication, such dream won't ever come true. Now, back to your question. It is true that such great concept is still struggling with some barrier, which stands a solid obstruction against the wide adoption, which I would like to share some of the points with you here, as it requires joint effort at all levels to overcome that. I can categorize this barrier into four main aspects. The custom-made design, as similar to any mass production lines, repetition and modularity will be great factor towards economical efficiencies. Consultant and the designer need to take that into their account in the earlier stage of design. The design needs to be locked early and changed to design after the start of the fabrication will be costly. This aspect requires certain cultural shift towards the aspect of the design change, which is also non-preferable in the conventional construction. Major problem faced also is the compatibility of the standard and the codes between the country of the origin and the country of application, especially here, so many profound and solid suppliers from China and from the other parts of the world are unable to brought up their system here due to difference in codes and regulation. Finally, the prefabrication is the front-load cash flow process. As the material require early procurement, this aspect require early procurement and the revision of the current practice of the down payment percentage or explore other innovative project finance methodologies. For the second part of the question, I would like to suggest some initiatives to be considered by government, which could have a great impact towards wider application of prefabrication system. First, to pre-approve certain common off-site fabrication system. Such pre-approval will directly save the time wasted on the repetitive process of submission and approval, which is typically the same and typically consume time with each project. Second, to widen the acceptance criteria of international codes to include Asian standards and codes, such as Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and so on. These codes are proven to be on the same level of other international codes, and they have been widely used since decades. Such approach will create a massive movement in the local market competitiveness, as will open the door widely to real innovators locked outside. It is also suggested to organize local research campaign and possibly competition and award scheme to promote the development of a localized offsite construction system, which in particular address the local market need. And finally, there is some extremely wrong perception, especially with end user, that prefabrication system is low quality and never been intended for permanent construction. This perception requires correction through awareness campaign to gain the end user's interest towards such innovative system.
Well, there's so much there that I'd love to follow up on, but as part of the ABLF Knowledge Partnership with the American University in Sharjah, I would like to introduce Ahmed Memon, who is going to join us to ask you a question, and then if we have any time, I'll follow up. So Ahmed, when you're ready, if you want to present your question to Mr. Yu, we'd love to hear it.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I'm very honored to be here at the ABLF Talks. Thank you so much for this opportunity to ABLF. And my question to you, Mr. Yutao, is that the pandemic has adversely affected the job market. What would your advice be to graduates looking for experience and opportunities in the current market conditions?
Well, in Chinese language, the word crisis composed of two characters. If we split these two characters, one of them will be mean danger, and another one will be mean opportunities. From language perspective, putting them together will make a totally different meaning, which is a crisis. But interestingly, aware of language rule, such coincidence is very true. In every crisis, there is always a risk and the opportunity. What I can suggest and advise fresh graduate and the senior student is make use of the current market slowdown to equip themselves with the additional knowledge needed in the construction market. On academic level, current situation made most of the course and the class become online, which is easier to attend and obviously more cost effective. So, additional study on project management and planning based off different type of construction contract, and maybe some specific software need for design or collaboration are a must-know for any fresh graduate to quickly enroll in construction field. Unfortunately, this knowledge is not that much addressed during the regular university programs. I would strongly recommend them to seek the study externally and make themselves fully equipped. On the practical experience level, I would like to encourage all of them to enroll in various internships in different areas of construction field before they decide what role exactly matches their talents and skills. From one side, that will let them understand what exactly their other colleagues are doing. On the other hand, they will also know where the passion is and how they can most valuable and productive in their future position. This is very important at the beginning to put themselves on the right track. Finally, on a personal level, some personal skills are also needed to any successful individual. For example, how to think in a win-win direction for all the time, how to be able to see matters from other parties' angle of view, how to always work according to the plan towards a clear objective. Although this seems to be simple and a common sense quality, however, they come only after a lot of practice, and this quality truly decide the rating and the success level of every individual compared to the others, especially in a hard time like the crisis we have now. Hope this is helpful to you, and it's the beginning of your career. It's good always remain focused to make sure you follow the latest trend. In my personal experience, what we learn in the university is probably 10 or 20% for us to use in the real career. So our career is a matter of learning process. We are learning, we are working. That will make ourselves more successful.
Thank you, Ahmed, for such an insightful question. And Mr. Yu, what brilliant advice that I think is going to be invaluable to graduates, but also to the many, many people who are looking for new careers or for a new positive job start after the pandemic. So thank you both so much. To everybody who missed the beginning of this wonderful session, please don't worry if you missed this session or any others, or just wanted to rewatch and benefit from all of those insights. You can absolutely return back to the platform after today and view this session, the rest of today's sessions, and all of the previous ABLF sessions on demand. If you've got thoughts to share or other questions or insights, please post them on our live social media wall with the hashtag ABLFcity. Mr. Yu, thank you so much for your time. It has been so wonderful to hear about the impact that your three major tech themes can have on the construction sector and on the economy and growth overall. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Ahmed, for your insightful question. And I look forward to seeing the rest of you on later sessions today at the ABLF April session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rasha.
And thank you for joining us today. And remember that we are back every month featuring global leaders in powerful conversations.